Okay, let's jump right into it. I want you to think about a feeling we all know. You're sitting there, maybe in a line, maybe you're supposed to be talking to a friend, and your hand just moves. It's quiet, it's almost unconscious. And without a thought, you've opened the app.
It's the check, the ritual of the check. You open it and then you open it again, not because you're expecting a specific message or, some life-changing update.
No, not at all.
It's this quiet, almost liturgical pull, a little whisper from somewhere deep inside that just says, check, just one more time. The anxiety isn't about missing out on something, it's about a need inside you.
A need that can only be soothed just for a second by that external chime. And that compulsive little motion is really the key to our whole deep dive today.
It really is. We're looking at a very modern kind of distress. It's not just, general anxiety or classic depression, though it absolutely overlaps with them.
It feels more specific.
It is. It's the specific, unsettling symptom of the compulsive performance of a life that never quite arrives. You're just stuck in this endless cycle. Curate, filter, post, and then that horrible pause. The wait.
That wait. God, that weight is everything.
It is, and today we're diving deep into what that validation cycle really tells us about our unconscious minds. It's a kind of psychic theater, but it's being played out on a global stage.
Freud never saw an iPhone, but you're saying he'd get this instantly.
Oh, instantly. He would have recognized the pattern in a second. So our mission here is to strip away the tech and look at this digital behavior through the only lens that can really decode these deep, unresolved needs.
A Freudian perspective.
Exactly. We're going to see what the feed reveals about the self that's hiding just underneath the surface.
Okay, so let's start with that tension. Think about this scroll. You're gliding past these perfectly lit lives, these staged milestones, meals you didn't cook.
Smiles that seem just a little too bright.
Exactly. And you pause and you hit like, pah. It takes no effort, but we do it religiously. But the real question is, do you actually genuinely care about that person's new succulent?
Probably not. The personal investment is, let's say, negligible. What's really happening is we're all fulfilling an unspoken pact. We've all signed it without realizing it.
Which is what?
I'll validate you if you validate me. It's a mutual, low-effort exchange of visibility. It just keeps the whole system running. If I see you, you're more likely to see me.
And you really feel the power of that pact when the system breaks down. That little rush of relief when the likes and comments come in.
Yeah.
You feel safe for a second.
Just for a second. But if they don't come, that dread that washes over you, it feels visceral. It feels like a real threat.
So what is that dread?
That dread is the key. Psychoanalytically, you can see the like as the digital version of a parental nod. Right. That external confirmation that we need, that we've always needed.
You exist. You matter.
You exist. You matter. You are approved. The lack of a response, that silence, it feels like being overlooked, or worse, rejected by the very authority you were trying to please in the first place all those years ago.
Wow. So the platform is essentially staging this drama that we've been trying to solve our whole lives.
Precisely. It's staging an unresolved childhood plea, that primal, unconscious urge we all carry around. See me. Choose me. Love me for who I really am.
But now that plea is being played out for billions of potential witnesses.
Right, and you're projecting this deep longing for unconditional love onto a system that is purely based on conditional performance.
The irony is just, it's brutal, because those billions of witnesses are all asleep at the wheel. They're not watching you.
No, they're busy performing their own lives and waiting for their own validation. We're all simultaneously the actor on stage and the completely distracted audience.
Which has to lead us to repetition compulsion. That's one of Freud's big ones, right?
It's one of the biggest, the constant, almost involuntary return to the app. It isn't just a simple addiction to a chemical reward. It's the unconscious drive to reenact an old wound over and over again, hoping that this time you'll finally master it.
So the platform sells us this temporary relief, but it never, ever offers a resolution. It just tees up the next round of the same old question.
Am I enough?
Am I enough? And you hope that maybe a new post, a different filter, will finally answer it.
But the answer is never on the outside. The drive to look for it there, though, is just so powerful because the wound is so deep.
And I feel like that leads us straight into this idea of the split self. I mean, you open any feed today, and you're just bombarded by these gurus telling you to unlock your potential, become the CEO of your destiny.
And those aren't just motivational slogans. They function as, well, as secular prayers against the quiet terror of insignificance.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you believe your entire worth depends on your performance, then the only answer to feeling meaningless is just endless activity, endless improvement, and, crucially, the endless display of that improvement.
So you buy the course, you post the sunrise yoga photo. You're performing the idea of a whole, optimized life. And the motivation for all of it at the root is just managing panic.
It is absolutely panic management. The doing soothes the panic.
Yeah.
As long as you are actively building and maintaining this perfected digital person, you don't have to face the actual messy, confused self that's hiding underneath it all.
It's the ultimate avoidance strategy.
A very effective one. It keeps you perpetually busy building a wall between your posted self and your unposted self.
But can't that drive actually lead to real growth sometimes? Is it all just avoidance?
That's a fair point. Of course, striving can lead to good things, but psychoanalytically, it's the compulsion that matters. When the goal isn't personal fulfillment, but optimizing yourself for public consumption, the whole function shifts.
From growth to defense.
Exactly. The moment you need that achievement to feel worthy, it's not about growth anymore. It's about hiding the part of you that isn't optimized.
And you see this so clearly in, say, a dating profile. It's the ultimate performance piece. You're not picking the most accurate photo. You're picking the one that best performs desirability.
It's a calculated projection of the fantasy you think the market wants. And the result of that is just brutal. When a match happens, the connection immediately becomes an audition.
You have to live up to the advertisement.
You have to maintain that polished version you sold them. It's performance pressure that's masquerading as intimacy, and the friction between the desired self and the real self is just overwhelming.
Okay, so let's put this in Freudian terms. We've got the ego, the superego, the ego. The mind is a battleground.
It is, and the platform becomes the ego's ultimate stage. It's where we try to balance our messy, chaotic desires, the id, with what our internalized conscience demands, the superego.
But it's more than just a stage.
It's more. It also functions as the superego's courtroom. That inner punishing judge we all carry around demands one thing online: be perfect or be invisible.
Which is why every post is so carefully edited. You crop out the messy corner of the room, you caption your pain as growth.
Or you rebrand your loneliness as sacred solitude.
Yeah. We perform wholeness while feeling completely fractured inside.
And the real tragedy here isn't just that you're lying to other people, it's that eventually you start to believe your own performance, you split yourself.
Into the posted self and the unposted self.
And the unposted self is where all the real stuff lives. The 3 a.m. panic, the grief, the envy you won't even name to yourself.
And because that vulnerable self has no platform, all your energy gets funneled into feeding the optimized one.
Exactly. But the posted self can never, ever nourish the other. Which brings us to what we could call psychic outsourcing. And this is one of the most concerning parts of it all.
Okay, so psychic outsourcing. Let's talk about where all our energy goes. Freud's idea of libido wasn't just sex, right?
Yeah.
It was the whole life force.
The energy of creation, connection, recognition, all of it. And that vital energy is now being massively rerouted.
Away from what?
From real-world relationships, from art, from deep thought. And it's all being funneled toward the screen, toward the metric of digital validation. Desire itself gets flattened and sorted into content categories.
Hashtag lifestyle, hashtag wellness, hashtag hustle.
Exactly. You're not really seeking connection anymore. You're seeking quantifiable proof that you are lovable. And the algorithm gives you that little hit-a-heart emoji for a tiny burst of dopamine, and it just keeps the whole flow going.
Yeah, that's heavy. And what happens to the emotions we're all trying to bury? Freud said, repressed things don't just disappear, they come back sideways.
They come back as symptoms. When an entire culture represses its grief, its rage, its fear, those feelings have to go somewhere. They just morph into culturally acceptable behaviors.
So grief becomes self-care.
And raw rage becomes performative boundaries.
Yeah.
Our deepest instincts learn to speak a new language. The unconscious learns to speak in hashtags.
And what about aggression? The death drive, Thanatos. Where does that get discharged online?
It gets sublimated. Instead of a real confrontation, you get passive-aggressive captions or moral grandstanding. And you see it most clearly in the righteous fury of the cancel mob.
So you feel like you're doing something virtuous.
It feels like moral cleanup, but psychoanalytically, you are often just channeling your own repressed rage onto a safe public target. The group shields you from responsibility.
Okay, so if the platform is soaking up all this libido, all this repressed anger, what has it actually become to us mentally?
It becomes a transference object.
Like in therapy.
Just like in therapy.
Yeah.
A patient projects their unresolved needs onto their analyst, We project our unmet emotional needs onto the platform. We see it as the all-seeing witness, the perfect confidant, the parent who's always available.
But the platform can't care.
The transference is doomed from the start. It has servers, not a heart. It can never give us the emotional reply we are actually craving. The longing is perpetual.
And that leads to the darkest twist in all this, the secondary revision, which originally was about how we clean up our dreams when we wake up to make them make sense, right?
Yes, but applied here. The secondary revision is the dark truth, that you are no longer sure which came first, the feeling or the post you needed to validate the feeling.
We're editing our lives as they happen.
We are. The moment hasn't even settled yet, and we're already composing the caption in our heads. We've stopped experiencing reality for its own sake. Everything is just raw material for the performance.
So the real becomes secondary to the representable.
The real is subservient to the representable. We've outsourced our own memory to a machine that then decides which version of you is optimized for attention. You're not the user anymore. You've become the dream the platform is dreaming.
And the cost of that is, it's huge. Because we keep going back. Not posting feels like disappearing. And disappearing feels like death.
But we have to remember, what is not mourned becomes a symptom. The way forward isn't necessarily a digital detox. It's a moment of ruthless honesty. To see the feed, not as reality, but as a symptom of what we're really missing.
So what does this all mean for you, for the person who might be scrolling through something right now while listening to this?
The ultimate question isn't whether you can quit the app for a week, it's whether you can tolerate the unmirrored self.
Well, what?
The unmirrored self. Imagine the silence if you stopped. The void where that feedback loop used to be, the quiet where the validation used to hum, that silence is the true test.
Because the deepest part of you, the part that desires and dreams and dares, it was never meant to be flattened into a profile.
It was meant for the messy, uncurated, gloriously real world. The screen will always stay silent no matter how many times you refresh.
Because the reply was never meant to come from outside.
The only validation that actually matters
Yeah.
has to come from within.